Hello everyone. Welcome to a Technique Tuesday with Lisa Fulford, your creative coach, and I'm so glad that you're here. I want to welcome you to my studio, and hopefully you'll find a couple techniques or tricks with this card that we're going to make. I find this drapery card to be very elegant, yet you can mix it up with other types of paper and you can make it look just, a little bit toned down, or you can add some flair to it with some florals that make it look like an actual, drape. And then you could give it a little bit of shine with some of our papers that have gold leafing in it. And so this is the card we're going to make this evening. And so today is April 1st, so I don't know if any of you have had any April Fools or not, but it's been a kind of a quiet day here in the studio, so I just find it to be, a fun day sometimes, especially when my kids were at home, that, do a little couple fun tricks and different things on different ones, but it's been a pretty good day today. No tricks on me. So anyway, we will get started with this card, and I hope you all are doing well. And let's show how to do this. So I'm going to lay these over here to the side. And this one here, I love the, I just love that gold leafing in it. I could have done the other side and had this part show right here at the bottom. So it just shows just a little bit. And on this one here, I did add stamping there, and then on here I did sprinkle a few embellishments around, just because I thought this was on the camera it looks a lot bolder than it is in person, so it really stands out on the camera, but in person not as much. But I still liked it because of it, it kind of blended in with this and then the different greens and stuff, so it pulled things from the actual rest of the elements of the card. But so I thought, well, if I put some of the blue and some of the yellow, I can't say that it's daffodil because I think that it's peach pie, and I think this is pool party, but it looks nice with that. So anyway, we'll put this one right here, and I do have my card pieces here. I have one that is, it is 4 1/4 by 11. It's been scored at 5 1/2, and I'm going to go ahead and fold and burnish that score line. I always put my mountain to the inside just because I get a little bit of a crisper score, but it's not, it's not you have to do it that way. It just makes it a little bit where it holds the score just a little bit nicer. So I'm going to set these things off to the side for now. We're going to work with this one, and then I'll tell the dimensions as we go with that. This piece is 3 1/2 inches by 8 3/4. I don't know why I was trying to remember that whenever I was going to bring the scoreboard in anyway. But yeah, it is 3 1/2. Let's see, make certain. Yep, 3 1/2, 8 3/4. All right, so I hope you can see across here and see the measurements. There's going to be several score lines, and then we'll do a little bit of cutting as well. But I want to show this on camera instead of just already having it finished like I do these things. So, all right. So to get started, you want it on the landscape, and you want to make certain you've got it all the way up to the top and all the way to the left. And you can do this on the paper cutter, but this works easiest for me. And I want to make certain instead of having the smaller end that I have the little bit larger end, or I will tear through the paper. And we are going to score at 1 1/4 right there. So 1 1/4, 1 3/4, Then we're going to go to 2 3/4. And then from 2 3/4, we're going to go to 3 1/4. From 3 1/4, we're going to go to 4 1/4. And you notice I'm holding the paper and I'm making certain it stays right where I have it. So, okay, so I just did 4 1/4. Then I want to do 4 3/4. Okay. And then we're going to go to 5 3/4. And then we're going to do 6 1/4. We're doing inch, half inch, inch, half inch. So, well, this one here started at 1 1/4, then that's a half an inch, and then that's an inch, half inch, half inch, half inch. Oops. That's 6 1/4. Then we need 7 1/4. And then we need 7 3/4. Right there. Okay, so be mindful, this is 1 1/4 down here, and then this one here is only an inch right here. So you want to make certain that the 1 1/4 is on your left. We're going to move this out of the way and bring in the paper cutter. All right, so this is 1 1/4. I'm going to double check that. Put that in the track. Yes, we're at 1 1/4. And this one down here, put that in the track. There we go. Yep. Oops. There, it's an inch. So this is the 1 1/4. We want to take that score line, that first one, and we're going to put it right on the track right here. And then we want this point, so I'm going to scoop this down just a little bit. Move this forward. I'm going to bring this down here, and I want that score line right at that track. So this is that 1 1/4 inch score line right here. Put my finger there. This corner, we're going to bring it over to about the 1 inch mark. It doesn't have to be exact, but you want it pretty close. Okay. So my score line's still there. My point's there. I'm going to close this up, and then I'm going to cut that at an angle. So when I cut right here down to that score line. So that we don't need right now. And so then this, from the score line to here, and that's about 1 1/8 it ends up being. So if you wanted to come down and just mark 1 1/8 and then take it to that score line, you can do that, but it's easier to put this on that track, put this to 1 inch, and then cut it. There's that. So this takes the most time because with all the score lines, and you can see it better probably on the back. You can see those at an angle if I put it at an angle. So it's like half inch, half inch, all the way down, except for this one's a little bit wider because that's the start of it. I don't know if you can see it on the front. Yeah, I think you could see it there too. So this one here, I know they're all valleys, but I'm going to take and I'm going to fold this back on that score line. And what I want to do is make certain that this top edge lines up straight. I'll finger press it and then bone folder. Okay. And then you're going to go back on that other score line, line up this edge here, finger press it, and bone folder. And then line up those that edge, That's how you know that you'll have it going straight. Finger press it. And you just go back and forth on all these. Just keep lining that straight edge there up. Looking pretty. I could have used the peach colors. Oops, see how that's going crooked? You don't want that. You want to make certain you get it lined up. And then finger press. I could have used the peach or the old olive. Could have used some of the gold. But I liked the blueberry bushel. I thought it went really nice with this pink. I don't know why, but I just really liked it. Like that. All right, so this piece is our basic white. And I have it at 3 7/8. The only reason why I did that was in case whenever I did my folding, see how it just almost perfectly fits in there. You can do 3 3/4, but then you have to really make certain that you don't fold it too tight, because on the score lines using the wider stylus, you kind of have some give. And so I made this one just a little bit larger than what this one is. So I'll have a little bit 1/8 inch smaller border. See that? So it won't be as wide as that. But what I had to do on this one was I had to trim it off because it went farther past my white layer. And then I just had to trim it off, which you can do that. But then whenever, let's see, when I did this one, it fit perfect. So I think it depends, because this has gold leafing on it. I think it folds a little bit different. And so this one here is 3 7/8 by 5 1/8. And that's just our basic white. And then this is blueberry bushel. And this one is your coordinating cardstock that's 4 inches by 5 1/4. So like I said, it'll just be an 1/8 inch border. So basically it comes down to like a 1/16 whenever you layer it. Okay. And then this piece is just the back side of that. I thought it would coordinate with the little bits showing. And this is a 1/2 inch. And it goes a little bit larger than the width of this. I will trim it off whenever we're finished before we adhere it to the piece of blueberry bushel. All right, and then this is the card base that we've already talked about, and we've already creased on that score line. So I'm going to move this out of the way. I cannot pick that up. And then here is one of the pieces that I popped out of. We have a few sheets that's got all kinds of wonderful images, and that is from the Wildflower Birthday 12 by 12 paper. All right, so we're going to work on this. We're going to flip it over to the back side like this. Then we're going to bring our tear tape. You could probably do liquid glue, Stampin' Seal Plus, things like that, but tear tape works great for me, and I'm going to show you a little trick as to why. So I'm going to put this across here, and I want to make certain that I have it laying down as I go, like that. And it just tears. That's why they call it tear tape. And then I'm going to put some right here. Tear that. Then I'm going to go across here. And I'm not going to go clear to the edge. I'm just going to go like that. So it's not going off or anything, and it's not going clear to these edges here. I want it to still kind of, see how this kind of ruffles up? I want it that way, okay? So I've got this all down. I'm going to bring it in here, and this is my little trick how I do this. If I put Stampin' Seal Plus, or even with this tear tape, if I just peel this off and stick it down, I'm going to do something not quite straight. So I'm going to take, just lift this a little bit and fold it back like that. This one here, I'm going to do the same, and if I need to burnish them, I'll just fold this back just a bit. And we'll take this one, kind of do the same here. I want it to extend just a little bit over the edges like this. And then now what I can do is hold it in the middle and line up my bottom edge and my side edge. See, I've got that all lined up there. Pretty well lined up down here. And then I'm going to pull this one back and press that. No, it's not going to go anywhere now. Remove that one. Press there. And then this next one, I'm going to grab it and press there. So it's going around like through here. So that leaves these able to like kind of come up a little bit. So it makes it look kind of loose and flowy. So there we go. So that part's done. So we'll throw this out of the way. Move that up there. All right, so now's when I think I want to do my stamping. I've got my blueberry bushel here, and I have a messy ink pad. And the ink pad keeps coming loose. I keep pushing it down. Then I'm going to ink this up. Let's see, do I want birthday wishes? I think so. I always need birthday cards, so I'm going to do another birthday card. Okay, so I need to get this a little bit closer so I can see. And I want to get it as straight as I can. And then I want to hold it so that it adheres well. Looks like I got it fairly straight. Okay, so another one of my little tricks is this. I want that to be good and dry before I do this. I'm going to sit this in my paper trimmer, but I want my cutting blade out of the way. And instead of, like, this is 1.5 inches from the top to here, but instead of going in 1.5 inches, I'm going to bring it down. So I've probably got 1/8 maybe. Let me look. Maybe not. going to bring it down to the 1.25 inches. That's what it is. I couldn't remember. So about 1.25 inches on, so it's, I can do it this way, 1.25 inches, but it's harder to hold on to it. And so I'm doing it on the right side where it goes 1 inch, 1.25 inches, and then this is 1.5 inches right here where the white and the dark come together. So I'm going to put it right at the 1.25 inches. And then I'm going to take this score blade and I'm going to just score lightly here. So you can see that score line right. You see that? I'm trying to see in my own there, you can see it right there. There's the score line. And the only reason why I do that is I'm going to use Terra tape, but I want to get this on straight. And see, it's going to overlap slightly to this. And I can see where to line it up so that I don't, get it kind of crooked and different things. So this could be a little bit off and a little crooked, but you don't want this piece to be. So I'm going to take my Terra tape again. And I'm going to go below that score line. Okay. And then tear. I'll grab my tool. I'm going to lift that up. And then we're going to overlap that just a little bit and get some of this so I get the top edge of the draping. And then I need to take the bone folder. Yeah, that's it. Go the opposite way. Have the folds. And then come in here. Lift that paper backing. And then now that I have that guideline, I can take, get it right along that guideline. As I overlap the tear tape, it's not going to extend too far. Ah, no. I didn't pay attention. So if you don't press it down, you can usually lift it back up if you. So I'm using that score line as my guideline. Got to remember to get it to the edge here. Now I can press it down. So there's a score line there. I'll turn it over and there's a little bit hanging off. So I meant to make that mistake just to show how to fix that. Just don't press it down and you can usually lift it. There's that. All right, so I hope you're following along so far. All right, now we're going to add this to our blueberry bushel. I'm going to do my corners. Put quite a bit on it because it is starting to get a little bit heavy with the layering on there. Just adding some more glue, and like I said, it's starting to get a little bit heavy. I'm going to add some dimensionals to the back of this. Trying to tuck that B into those leaves there. And then there we go. This one has a little bit of a smaller border. Press it from. It's got a little bit of a smaller border than what this one does. So if you want a more pronounced, there's that. And this one. And that's the Thanks a Bunch. And I think that's to market paper. And then the Just a Note. Can't remember the name of that paper. Floral Delight paper. So I hope that you found a few tricks to put this down so that it doesn't pop back up, so you get it fairly straight. So there's the trick to get the paper. You could use ribbon. You can, use different things. If you use ribbon, it's a little easier to get it straighter because you can tuck it around, where with the paper, you're not doing any tucking. And then you can add embellishments like the little gems and things, or you could just use the images. This one was stamped. These were all popped up. So there's so many different ways that you can do this card. And on the inside here, I just put the carrots. So you can go wild with this card layout with this little technique. And it's a lot of fun to do. And just keep looking for different papers. You could do it with Christmas paper. I think you could probably do it with like animal paper. I don't know for certain because this is kind of a small image. And I don't know if the otter paper would work or not. I haven't tried that one. But anyway, so I hope you really enjoyed this technique. And you'll drag out some of your DSP and give this a try. So I want to thank you for joining me. And if you learned a thing or two on this, leave me a comment below and let me know if you've tried this technique or if this would be your first time trying it, and if, the tips that I gave you helped you to have a nice craft session. So I hope that it gave you some inspiration and that you'll create something fabulous today. And until next time, happy stamping. Bye-bye.